Hi everyone, I'm Allie with the Potomac Bead Company, and I'm going to show you how to do our Floral Fusion design. So the Floral Fusion design is based on 6mm Swarovski crystals. You're going to use 2 different colors of the Swarovski crystals, and you need 7 of each. That's going to be enough to do one of the little floral designs here. What I'm going to do first is show you how to make one of these, and then I'm going to show you how to add them together with a third piece. So we're going to start by doing and recreating this one using the blue Pacific Opal here and the Colorado Topaz. I'm also going to be using some 8/0 seed beads. I have on a size 10 English beading needle, and I have about 3 feet of my wildfire beading thread. It's 0.008. Either would work, 0.008 or 0.006. So to start out, I've threaded my needle, and I'm going to start out by putting 6 of my 8/0 seed beads onto my needle. I let those drop down on my thread, down to the bottom, and I'm just going to leave myself have about a 4-inch tail. To start, I'm going to round these out. To do that, I'm going to take my needle back through in a circular fashion those original beads. I'm going back through all of those beads, and I'm going to pull tight. What that's going to do is that's actually going to circle the beads out so they form a circle. To get that circle to stay, I'm going to take the tail that I left as well as the thread that I'm using that's connected to my needle, and I'm just going to tie a knot. And I don't want to do a double knot, I'm just going to do a single knot. It's not really for any purpose other than to pull those beads nice and tight into a circle. And that's giving me 6 of those 8/0 seed beads on. The next thing I'm going to do is take my needle through the next 8/0 in line, which would be the next one after the knot, and it doesn't matter whether or not you're going right or left, whichever you're more comfortable with. And I'm going to have my needle then coming out of the next seed bead in line. Onto my needle then will go my glass beads, or my crystal beads. So I'm going to put on one of my 6mm crystals, one of my 8/0 seed beads, one of my 6s, one of my 8/0 seed beads, and another one of my 6s. If you notice, the middle bead that I picked is going to be the outside color of the flower or the floral. I'm going to pull that tight, and then to round it out, I'm going back through, I'm taking my needle back through in a circular fashion, back through that same seed bead that I came out of. So I'm coming out on the right, I'm going around and coming out on the right again. And then I'm going to give it a nice pull. What that's going to do as I pull all this thread through is give me my first little triangular box. And that's going to be my first section of my floral. Next, I'm going to go through the second seed bead in line. So this is the seed bead that is right next to the one that I just came out of. Again, onto my beads here, I'm going to add one of my 6mm Swarovskis, one of my seed beads, one of my 6mm Swarovskis, and another one of my seed beads. Last time I added 3 beads because I was getting started. This time I'm only adding 2, and what I'm going to do is use the third bead as that crystal that's already there. I'm going to take it through there and give it a nice tight pull again. And that forms my second little triangle. To get that triangle to stay in place, what I'm going to do is go through the original seed bead that I came out of for the second piece, and then I'm going through the third seed bead in line, giving it a nice pull then. And there, my 2 rows are completed. I'm going to continue this pattern the whole way around until I'm getting to the end of my project. Again, at this point, I'm going to put on one of my 6mm Swarovskis, an 8/0 and a 6mm Swarovski, and then another 8/0. And I'm going through the last Colorado Topaz bead that was in line, going back through the original seed bead in this section and back through the second seed bead. So that would be seed bead number 4 of the originals that I put on. And I'm going to continue doing this the whole way for my floral section. a little rephrase from the earlier. This design here was done with 7 beads. I'm actually going to be doing mine with 6 of each color, so that's just kind of for you to know. As you're getting down to your last bead in line, you'll realize that it needs to change a little bit. So I've gone the whole way around here, and when my needle has come out of the seed bead to the side, what I'm going to do, and this would be my last seed bead to do my decoration with, I am going to go up through the first Swarovski that I put on, add on an 8/0 seed bead, put on the next Swarovski, which would be the last one sitting in your pile, and then I'm going down through the Swarovski just as I did, and again through that bead. I'm going to give that a nice tight pull, and then you'll see this little fusion set is completed. You do want to make sure while you're working with it that you keep a fairly good tension. You will see a little bit of the string the whole way through. Once I come out here, I should be coming out right next to the thread that I already have on it, so the tail thread. What you can do is if you want to do a pair of earrings or something, you can just tie this off with a square knot, right over left and left over right, just to get rid of that thread. I'm going to give it a nice little pull there. And I just did 1 knot because I'm not going to have a lot of tension on it. You're going to take your super glue then, if you're a super glue person, and you just do a tiny little dab right on the knot. It's always a good idea with your super glue then to kind of take your mat and press your design in, get all that extra super glue out of there. And what I do usually is I let this dry on a surface that it's not going to stick to. So you can put it on a bowl or a plate or something. If you keep it to the mat and the glue does seep out, it's going to stick to the mat. The last thing I'm going to do then is burn off my threads. And I have my thread burner, and I'm just going to take it, and so it doesn't get all kinds of smoke on the camera, I'll just kind of mimic it, and then I'll go ahead and do it off camera. I take my thread burner, I hit my button, and I'm going to take my thread ends down. If you don't have a thread burner, go ahead and just use the scissors, and you can cut that extra thread off. That's how you're going to do that first set of floral fusion. The next one I'm going to show you how to join those pieces. Now I'm going to show you how to add another one to these, or how to combine 2 together. So to start, I'm going to be using 6 of my center core beads. If you're just attaching 1, you're going to use 5 of your Swarovskis. If you're going to attach 2, you are going to use 4 of the Swarovskis, because you'll have 2 spaces that it joins. I'm just going to attach to 1, and I'll show you how to do that. So I'm going to use 5 of my crystals. What I'm going to do, and what I've started with, is using my 6 center 8/0 seed beads and tied them, just repeating the steps from the first one. As I come out of my seed bead that's next to the knot, I'm going to attach and add my crystals just as I was before. Then I have my crystals, and I have my Colorado topaz, a seed bead, my pink seed bead, my Colorado topaz, and I'm going to circle back through that original bead that I came out of, that 8/0, and then give a nice tight pull, and that's going to get my first loop. Going through the next seed bead in line, what I'm going to do is add one of my Colorado topaz colors, one of my seed beads. Here is where I'm going to pick up one side of the previous floral, and then I'm going to go through the last side of my bead that I put on. So back through that last Colorado topaz crystal. Again, back through my 8/0 seed bead, and through the next one as well. What that's going to do is that's going to link these 2 together. When you're thinking about this and the design that you want, you also want to think about what color you want that petal that's going to be linking. So I've just made mine the blue one. You could do it in alternating color. It's kind of up to you. And I'm going to continue on. On goes one of my 6/0s, a seed bead, or 6 millimeters, a seed bead, a seed bead, goes on in between each, and then back through my bead. So at this point they're connected, and I'm just going to continue on with my pattern. And give a nice tight pull. You can see now my floral is taking shape and they're connecting. If I wanted to add another one onto this, what I'm going to do is repeat the same steps that I did here as I get to this other side. So you can add them however you want. Basically, you would just add them in that fashion. And you can add them on to all different corners and all different sides to make a really complex project. But if you add it in a straight line, it'll make a nice bracelet by the time that you would have them kind of lined up. So that's how you're going to do your floral fusion and actually make it longer and attach them together if you don't want to just wear them as a pair of earrings. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, let me know. I'd be happy to help you out. And check us out on Facebook and Instagram, and also like us and follow the rest of our YouTube videos and check us out. Visit one of our stores and stop in to say hi to our wonderful staff and to pick up your materials. Thanks a lot for watching.